Welcome back to the Gen X Remix, Midlife Laughs and Next Acts. I'm your host, Tabitha Jones, the Corporate Escape Sherpa. And before we dive in, I have a question for you. What's one thing you always thought you'd do in your lifetime, but you haven't done it yet? Hold on to that thought, because today's episode is all about taking action on those dreams we often put on the back burner. But first, I'd love for you to visit my website, corporateescapesherpa.com, and grab your free corporate escape guide. It's filled with strategies and small actions you can take to start planning your escape before leaving the security of your day job. Now on to our episode. I'm so excited to welcome Jenny Chiefetz to the show. She's the host of the Sideline Sisters podcast and the CEO of Jentle Coaching, where she helps women navigate big life transitions with purpose and clarity. We had such a great time on her podcast, and now she's here to share her own incredible remix story, one that involves big pivots, unexpected opportunities, and following the breadcrumbs of life. Today, we're talking about how to breathe through midlife, literally and figuratively, and why slowing down just might be the key to speeding up your next chapter. If you've ever felt like you're meant for something more, but aren't sure of what's next, you're going to love this conversation. So let's get to it. Jenny, welcome to the Gen X Remix. I'm so excited to have you on today.
Tabitha, it's awesome to be back in your presence. We had such a good time on my show, so it's great to be here.
Oh my gosh, that interview on Sideline Sisters was so much fun. Oh, I'm excited. All right. Well, I like to start out by having each guest tell their remix story. So how about you share yours?
All right, let's go. So let's see. It is 2025 now, and I am going to be 50 this year. 5 years ago, and it was right around the time that we're recording this, that it was, if people can do the math, of 5 years ago, spring, was the beginning of the pandemic. So that was a pivotal moment in my story. I had stopped, very coincidentally, but fortuitously, had stopped a home-based baking business that I had been running for about 10 years. And I chose to stop that in February of 2020, just picked a date out of the sky and said, this is my end date, which worked out really well because I was doing a lot of corporate work. And, you know, as of March, everyone was working from home. So there went the corporate appreciation employee events that I had been doing. So as I was lying in bed scrolling social media, I came across an ad for a group life coaching. It was very targeted to an issue that was plaguing me, which was binge eating. And I saw this ad come across my feed. I wasn't subscribing to binge eating pages. Like, it was very random that this appeared on my screen, which was great. I mean, I was not at the time a spiritual woo-woo person, so I didn't notice it at the time as a sign from the universe. I just was kind of like, where is this coming from? But how interesting. So I read all the text related to this ad. I said, why not? It was low cost, very low intimidation factor because we were at home and it was online. So I said yes to that. And it was so profound for me. I mean, I had done therapy throughout my life, and I had at one point worked with a coach, but it wasn't super excavating. It was just a little bit of work. So I went totally down the rabbit hole. I went from that program to the next program this coach offered, to the next program, until finally this coach offered the opportunity to meet her mentor, who was a coaching certification instructor or coach. So I thought at that time, I was now spiritual enough to say, oh, this is a breadcrumb from the universe to follow. So I took a life coaching certification course. I looked in the mirror and I was like, why not? Why not have this be the next act? I was done with baking and now I'm doing all of this diving and meditation and putting the pieces of this mysterious life together, which was fascinating. And found myself getting certified in life coaching and breathwork.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Isn't it interesting how the universe kind of guides us? The universe, the algorithm, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Kind of guides us to
well
the next
said.
thing, right?
Yeah. It's like, let's call it a spiritual algorithm. Like I said, I wasn't clicking on things that made that show up. It's not like when you're looking for hiking boots and you start seeing all the ads from Sierra and REI. No, I was out of the blue, punched in the face with this ad.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I had not too long ago, I was scrolling on Instagram and I just like funny videos, cute donkeys, like whatever, just anything that's going to make us smile, right? Just going through. And then all of a sudden I hear this voice as I popped one up and it says, if you're receiving this, it's meant for you. And I was like,
wow.
And I listened and it was this message of just, I was struggling with something. And it was kind of a business struggle that I was going through last year with some repositioning. And, like, do I do this? Do I do that? And the message was so profound. I was like, I haven't even talked to anybody about this. I'm literally looking at miniature donkeys and house cows.
Right?
Where did this come from? So that is so interesting. And, as you mentioned, the woo, I think that there is definitely an energy that sometimes sends us something we need and we aren't even looking for it.
Yeah. And the key there is to be open to receiving it, because we get so many messages that we're not aware of because we're not in that receptive mode. It's just not in our vision. If you think about all the messages you've probably received over the years that
exactly
didn't take. But when we notice them, it's because we're in the place where we're ready for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about who you work with now. Like, what's this life coaching business turned into?
Yeah, good question. And it has evolved, and I'm sure will continue to evolve as we as individuals, we as coaches discover more about ourselves. So, what I might have started off thinking I wanted to do isn't where I am today. So where I am today is midlife women, high achievers, people who kind of identify as a former straight A student, maybe a people pleaser. I don't know if they might not be at the point of identifying that way, but just someone who strives to be successful and probably realizes that it's not working in all areas of their life. They might be crushing it at work and then come home and feel like it's a swirling tornado of garbage. Nobody listens to them. No one's behaving. They can't put dinner on the table and piles of laundry. So they feel really successful in one area, but not the other. So it could also be vice versa, like great at being the stay-at-home mom, but kind of like, is there more for me? I know I have a brain at the top of my head, but I'm not really using it. Should I be? Could I be? So just the women who want success, however they define that, want to feel purposeful and driven.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like there was a point where I could have used you when I was back in my corporate days because I was so successful at work and I'd come home and sometimes just go, what is happening here? Where's I can say something in a room of 400 adults and they will do what I ask them to do.
Yep. And yet I can't
ask a question.
Kid to put socks on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so needed. And then, we kind of beat ourselves up as women, especially as midlife races Gen Xer women, right? We beat ourselves up if we can't get all those ducks in a row all the time.
Yeah.
And you could be doing amazing at 90% of the things, but you'll stick on the 10% that isn't going amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we also we've been conditioned in a well-meaning way. You and I have grown up in this generation, this Gen X vision of you can do it. You can be all that you can be. You can have it all, Tabitha. And that comes with long hours, a lot of pressure, a lot of self-sabotage, a lot of being mean to ourselves, a lot of comparison. And it's almost like we need to step into a different generation for a moment and say, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not be the best at everything. It's okay to rest.
yeah. The younger generations figured that out. So I feel like we taught them that. We just didn't take it with us.
Yeah. And the
So
ones
interesting.
before us
Yeah.
maybe did it a little bit better. We got into this little pocket of do it all, do it all, do it all. And less sleep is better. More say yes to everything. The more you do, the better you are. The more important you are, the more respected you are. And it's like, hold up. You can start saying no to all those various requests from organizations that you're going to handle the bake sale and that you're going to decorate for such and such event. You don't have to do all that.
Yeah. No is a complete sentence.
Mhm.
I've taught a lot of people that.
Yeah. And
It's
use
so
it.
interesting. We judge ourselves so harshly and compare
Right.
ourselves to your point, right? We're always
Mhm.
looking for, that, I don't know. It's kind of a self-sabotage, I think is the word you said, but the judgment that we put on ourselves, it's heavy. And
Yeah.
I would say that I saw a post recently about how it's a sign of trauma when you don't feel like you can rest or relax, like you're being
Hmm.
lazy if you're not active and doing things. And I think back, even to childhood, I felt like when I would sit down to watch TV or read a book, there was always something to do. I was the oldest of four. My mom did daycare, right? Hey, I need you to do this. You need to do that. Have you done this? Have you done that? And so conditioning taught me don't sit down and rest. That's lazy. There's always something that needs to be done. And I saw that post and I was like, huh. And so I had to think about it. I'm like, have I gotten to a point where I don't feel guilty resting?
Yeah.
No, but I will force myself to do it now because it's needed and it's hard.
And I'm so glad you said that because that tends to be a common declaration in my content is on the one hand, watching TV or like completely zoning out in Netflix can be a form of spiritual bypassing. I mean, if you're deliberately using it to avoid a difficult situation in your life and you're just looking to check out one way or the other, then I don't recommend that. But if you are deliberately sitting down, feeling the comfort of your couch, put a blanket over yourself, and you're like, I'm going to put on that show and feel good and laugh, or maybe I'm going to put on some scary movie if you're into that, or whatever someone's been talking about at the gym, reality show. Just do it with intention and make that something that calms you, that regulates you. Again, not suggesting that you do that for 10 hours a day and avoid interacting with humans and, put the fingers in your ear, la, 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 everything's perfect when it's not. But if it's a deliberate rest period, I preach that day in and day out.
Yeah, so important. And sometimes it maybe needs to be 10 hours, depending on how hard
Sometimes.
you've been going, right?
And
Oh,
for the woman that, like you alluded to, might find that challenging, then it's a perfect place to start because it's available. You don't have to go anywhere, buy anything, do anything different. It's let's practice. Let's practice. It's like setting boundaries. It's let's practice. Let's dip our toe in and put a show on. And maybe the first time you put a show on, you need to be folding laundry at the same time because it just feels way too indulgent to sit and watch TV.
plus that
So,
laundry is just piling up.
yeah, yes, I get that. I have that currently. But it's a starting point. the goal being for you to completely immerse yourself in the show and not feel the tug to do something else.
I love that. It's hard. I mean, it's hard for me, and I've become more aware of these things. And laundry. I don't understand laundry. I told my husband, I was like, here's the deal. From now on laundry day, everyone stays naked until all the laundry is done, folded, and put away. Because when I am done with it, I don't want to see anything, not one little piece of anything in that hamper.
Yeah,
for
I know.
2 hours.
Seriously, I have the laundry in the machine and there's stuff already in the hamper. I don't understand.
Make it stop. So yes, we're going to become nudists on laundry day. Just heads up. Don't come over that day.
I was going to say, close the blinds.
Yep. Close the blinds. Oh my gosh. And that sounds like such great self-care. So what are some things that you do for self-care? Some things that you recommend, especially for those of us that have a hard time disconnecting and just stopping emotion?
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of watching TV. I admit it. I also get out and walk my dogs every day. I have 2 dogs. So part of that is inflicted upon me. They do need to go outside. Someone has to take them. We don't have a fenced yard. We don't live in that kind of neighborhood. So I take them, and I do it again with intention of, if I'm with a friend, we're with our dogs, we're with each other, we engage in great conversation. If I'm alone, like I was today, it's noticing my environment, even though it was a gloomy, drizzly, gray, not the nicest spring morning. Yeah. But I was walking along a river, so I could, deliberately notice the current and put my attention elsewhere, not on me and my issues or my to-do list, but the gravel underneath my feet. Noticing that these trees, as bare as they are today, are not going to be in a couple weeks, maybe even a week. They'll look different. So it's getting in nature and observing, being present. I love to have a nice cup of coffee. It doesn't have to be a trip to Paris. It can be as simple as intentionally enjoying your coffee, not just, putting it in the cup holder of the car and making sure you finish it and don't drip on yourself. No, it's sitting and smelling it and appreciating. I buy myself a really nice oatmeal creamer and appreciating that, knowing this tastes good and I'm going to enjoy this. And who knows, maybe I'll have a second cup. So it doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, yes, I do things like meditate and breath work and visualizations and journaling and all the modalities. But as far as really easy, simple, integrative ways to honor myself, I might light a candle and just have it sit in the kitchen. And while, I take it with me wherever I'm going. Learned that lesson once before. Don't leave candles burning if you're not present. PSA. But, having a candle that I appreciate, I'm very careful about my environment. I'm a bit of a minimalist. I don't know if I would say I'm a full-on, but having my environment support me, not being cluttered, not having ideally the laundry piled to the ceiling, so just surrounding myself with things, having good food.
Yeah, I love that. It sometimes feels like we overthink self-care. That's why I love asking this question. I hear a lot of, I don't have time. And I'm like, well, it doesn't mean you have to go, tune out at the gym for an hour or go get a 2-hour massage. It could mean, to your point, it's as simple as walking your dog. Mine doesn't give me an option, and we do have a fenced-in yard.
Yeah.
But, just getting out, because where I live in Northern California, things are starting to bloom and the birds are always out. And we have these crazy turkeys in our neighborhood that I don't know why I get such a kick out of them, but I love seeing them. And
I love the turkeys. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it's
we have so many.
Get out. Yeah. And the neighbors that, just say hi for a minute. I mean, it's great to just get out and be like, oh, okay, this the world's great. Everything's going fine. Let me get
Yes.
away from the things that are bothering me right now.
Yeah, just these little reminders of I am a human in a world with other humans. And it can be as simple as, I mean, I was at the grocery store yesterday and I had a podcast playing on my phone in the cart while I was picking strawberries. And a woman walked up to me and asked what I was listening to. So I immediately paused what I was listening to. And we ended up having a 10-minute conversation about Mel Robbins and relationships and what we do to take care of ourselves. And it was just like, wow, engaging with people can feel really good. And we don't do enough of that.
No, we don't. And it's funny how many people still will shy away from eye contact. I think if I was a dog, I'd be a Jack Russell Terrier. I'm all up in your face, like, hey, how you doing? What are you doing? Why are you buying those kind of strawberries? What's the difference? Like, they're all shut up and let me get my stuff and go.
Yeah. But
Oh,
it's so fun. I mean, yeah, I have a funny story. My husband and I were going to get bagels one day and he sat in the car. It was on a city street. So he stayed in the car, parked illegally. I go in to get the bagels and it was like, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes. I finally come out and he's like, what took so long? When I go and get bagels, I'm in and out. It's like a 90-second transaction. I don't understand what you were doing. And I was like, oh, Eric and I were having a great conversation. What do you mean? He's like, you know the guy's name? Don't
that's
you?
the best. Well, it was funny. So when I worked in corporate, I was there forever. And I didn't really know a lot of people in my community. So I could just run in the store and run out. And now I've spoken to everybody because I have time. And everywhere I
Yes,
go now, it's like you run into somebody or, you have a great conversation with the shop owner and it just makes it more fun.
it does.
One of the things you mentioned, Jenny, was breath work. So
Mm,
tell me a little bit about your thoughts on breath work and some of the benefits.
yeah, thank you. So, it was a funny thing when I was getting certified in life coaching, that certifier also certified in breath work. So she would sprinkle it into our lessons. And having never heard of it before, I was kind of like, what is this all about? I don't understand. Like you just breathe differently. What? I don't get it. It's, like when walking became exercise, it was like, what do you mean? But we walk every day. Well, there's a way you can do it that's more of an exercise than not. Um, and that's kind of breath work. Like, yes, we breathe all day, every day, but there's a way you can do it that can be more of an exercise, more of a healing modality than just your ordinary sustaining breath. And so I learned how different patterns get us into a different state. I mean, we spend most of our days, whether it's because we're human or women or moms or busy, we're up here in our brains just spiraling in thoughts. I've heard anywhere from like 20 to 80,000 thoughts a day, something like that, something crazy. And most of them are the same ones that we had the day before and the day before that. And I'd say a good majority of them are probably negative too.
Not to mention at
So,
3 a.m. when you're trying to sleep.
right, reminders of what you didn't do, what you need to do, what you should be worried about, what you can't control. And
Mhm.
so when we take on an intentional breath, and it could be, Tabitha, as simple as an inhale into the nose, an exhale from the mouth, just keeping that cycle going, your basic breath. But when you are focused on it, doing it with intention, and also bringing in an intention. So you're focused on the breath, but you also have a desired feeling behind it. Like, I want to feel calm. I want to feel energized. I want to feel excited about my job. I want to feel more loving toward my family. Whatever your state is, what your purpose that you're focusing on, and then you just breathe. You just breathe. Now you could do this on your own. You could do this with a facilitator like myself, but you keep that pattern going. And it can be, again, as simple as 30, 60, 90 seconds, Or you could do a full-on session that might be 15, 30, 45 minutes. But when we focus on our breath and get out of the busy brain, it happens without us asking. A lot of times people will say, I can't meditate because I can't stop thinking. Okay, fine, cool. Focus on your breath. Focus on your breath. I'm just breathing to feel calm. I'm breathing to feel calm. Hear the breath. Feel the breath. Notice the breath. You kind of can't worry about that checklist when you're doing the intentional breathing. And then cool stuff happens in your body. It's like you've hired a whole housekeeping team that has entered your body, and they're sweeping out the corners, they're dusting shelves, they're taking broken stuff out of the house, they're decluttering. That's happening in your body. Stuff is opening up, space is happening, broken drama type stuff is emerging, allowing you to notice it. Like, oh, I didn't realize I had that, 3 pens in the drawer that are broken, that don't work. That's happening in your body. As you breathe, stuff emerges. So it's this healing process of, oh, I didn't know that was there, that I actually want to take a closer look at. I didn't know that I don't know, that difficult relationship with my college roommate is really plaguing me. Like, it's just really, I got to repair that. Or I don't like the way my boss speaks to me. I feel bad about myself, and maybe I need to look at that. Or, it's something like that. I don't like where I live. Maybe that's something I want to look at. But it gives us an opportunity to be investigators, inspectors of our stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I was introduced to breathwork probably maybe it was during the pandemic, but right as things started opening up. So maybe 2021-ish. And it was the first time. It was a 45-minute breathwork session. And I was like, that is never going to. But I was introduced to it and I thought, 40 minutes for breath work. This is crazy. And of course, I'm laying there with this eye cover on. And it was this gentleman who was like deep voice dancing around the room. And, so we're not supposed to be peeking, but I'm like peeking, trying to see what was going on. And then probably about 10 minutes in, I was able to just let go.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I felt like a new woman when I got off that floor. I was like, this is crazy. So then fast forward, I have a friend that is she's a coach as well. And she has sound bath meditation kind of breath work sessions at her house. And what you're saying, the relief that you feel from getting that out, just it doesn't make sense until you do it. And so I love how you explained it. But we sit there and we internalize and we think, oh, that jerk, like, why did that happen? Why did that happen? Why did I let that go? And so it just turns into this big ball of something. And then as you're breathing in all the good stuff and letting out all the bad stuff is the best way I can explain it. It feels so good when you're done. And I've done the shorter sessions, like 10 minutes, just sitting at my desk where I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let that bother me. Let me just take a couple breaths in and out. And so I love that you're guiding people through this. And I'm getting that it's a big part of the work that you're doing now.
Yeah. It's so interesting because, a lot of people are in their heads thinking, I'll just think my way through my problems. Like, I'm sure I can make a pro-con list. I'm sure I could talk it over with a friend and just sort it out. And a lot of times that just keeps us stuck in an ego-focused approach, whereas we have so many answers within us. Someone came to me once with a job issue. They wanted to sort out something at work. They felt really underappreciated and just kind of tossed aside. So they wanted to feel more empowered at work. Well, I think she had signed up for 5 or 6 sessions, and By the second one, we realized it, or she realized, not we, she realized it wasn't about the job. She was actually in a really toxic romantic relationship.
Mm.
But that came up in breath work. It's like she didn't come in thinking, I have this horrible relationship and I want out and I don't know how to get out. She had accepted that as part of her life. It was the job she wanted to fix because she was aware of how crappy she felt at work. She wasn't aware of how crappy she was being treated in the relationship.
Wow.
And
That's pretty
yeah,
huge.
oh, it was amazing. It was like, okay, so the work thing sorted itself out and she was able to get on stage and, like you said, speak to a room of 400 people. And she was able to break off the relationship.
Wow.
And so she had these two huge breakthroughs without having to make a list, hem and haw, poll all of her girlfriends. It was just the wisdom within.
Wow. It's all in there. It's just sometimes we need a little help getting it out, right? Oh,
Yeah, it gets just like the clutter in our house. Like we add more stuff onto the pile. So you can't find that really pressing bill that needs to get paid because you just put the mail, the newspaper, and all the kids' papers on top of it.
wow. That's a really great explanation of how it goes. And then also, how sometimes we're so focused on one thing, we don't realize the other things that are impacting us. What are some of the most common reasons people seek your services?
Yeah. Stress is probably the biggest, just feeling stressed, don't know how to calm down, and breath work, as you've experienced, probably is just a really easy way. And most people have done it without labeling it as such. Think about how many times in your life you've said, just take a deep breath. Just pump the brakes, take a breath. That's breath work. Feel free to do more of that. So it's to calm down, release the stress. Um, Other reasons really can run the gamut of just wanting to focus on a particular problem, whether that problem is work, relationship, managing all the parts of life. And again, for our generation, that sandwich experience of still have the kids, aging parents, so there's just a lot. Uh, Another thing is clarity, to gain clarity on what do I do next? What's my purpose in life? What do I want to do? Again, at our age, you might be at a good turning point, kids aging out of the house. What's next for me? So wanting to have a safe space to explore. Um, Gosh, there was something else that was on the tip of my tongue and now I can't, I lost it. But yeah, stress, clarity, uh, mm, you can also use it to get energized. That would be more of a one-off type of thing. Usually people will want to, grief. That was another big one. Like wanting to work through a really difficult, if someone is at a place where they say, I just don't know how to get through this. So whether it's loss, whether it's becoming an empty nester, moving into a new job and just or having lost a job. How do I get through this difficult time? That's a common one.
I love that. I love that you're there as a resource to help people going through this. I know just from my vast network from the corporate world, a lot of women hit this, I'm a little older than you, the mid 50s range, and suddenly find themselves laid off. And it's not
Mm.
a fun time to be looking for a job. I actually was just talking to someone yesterday and she said, I just feel such a connection with this company. I've been there for so long and I have this sense of loyalty. And I was like, but are they loyal to you? Like, how are we going to get through this? How are we going to work through it to get you to let go so that you're ready for what's next? And That sounds like exactly where your area of specialty is in helping process those feelings, helping breathe in some of that positivity and let go of some of the things she's holding on to that I worry will hold her back. You know,
Yeah.
it's hard.
And and there's so much value in the work that you and other coaches do as far as journaling or focusing on your strengths, doing the kind of strategic work.
Yeah.
And then there's this other body work that people don't realize is so impactful. I mean, I heard a coach talk about. I was listening to something today in my own coaching because I have a coach. So recording my own coach gave me, and I thought it was a perfect analogy or explanation of how important the body, the wisdom of the body. Think if you were walking down a dark alley, a dark, narrow alley at night. Um, you would think, I'm scared. All of a sudden you think, I'm scared. I heard a noise. The thing is, your body knew fear first. It communicated it to your brain. Your body experienced rapid heart rate, maybe sweaty palms, I don't know if it's the tightening of the blood vessels or whatever, these physical sensations your body
Mhm.
experienced first and then sent the signal to your brain. This means fear. Move the feet, get out of here, look around, be aware. But your body sensed it first, which is, I think, the really important message with whatever you're going through. Again, work
Yeah.
issues, relationship issues, kids, friend group, personal identity of who am I at this juncture in life. Your body knows something and is communicating to your brain. The way it's coming through might be a little bit jumbled. So you're getting this thought of, what now? I'm stuck. There's nothing for me. I'm at a dead end. I'm bored. It's coming through. It's like the way the Morse code was translated, like do, 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 from your body. All of a sudden, there's this message coming through. Your body knew that. And so we can work through that message that's in your body. So the I'm bored, I'm stuck, I'm worthless, there's nothing for me. It's still here. You thought it, but it's in your body. How do you how do you change that? How do you fix that? How do you work through it?
Oh my gosh, so important. I wish I had known as much about these things 15, 20 years ago that I know now.
Yeah.
When you're a busy working woman or even a busy stay-at-home mom, whatever it is, you're so busy, you don't always know where the resources are. So I'm really happy that you were able to join us today because bringing this awareness to other women, I had ignored signs. I know working women like I was, ignore the signs, ignore the way your body feels, ignore that nausea that never seems to go away. Oh, it's just stress. It is your body telling you, listen, lady, if you don't pay attention, it's going to
Right.
go bad. And
Right. You're getting the message in your brain. It's just stress, but the body is
yeah,
telling you something a little clearer, like slow down, pivot, stop doing that. You need more of that. But all we're hearing is it's just stress. And then we judge ourselves or explain it away saying, yeah, and that's life. We're supposed to be stressed.
exactly. Oh my gosh. Yes. And then, the other thing I see is women who want to go and start their own thing, but they've been in corporate for so long. And it's kind of that same thing. It's like you feel that fear and you feel that anxiety and you feel that discomfort and you feel like you don't belong and you're not aligned. And it really is all just because you're not in the right place anymore. And having someone like you that can help you breathe through it, help you talk through it and think through it in a different level, listening to your body and not just your brain that's trying to put the stop on the what really needs to happen. It's so
Yeah.
powerful. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what a great bunch of information you've shared today. I'm so excited. So tell me, if somebody's listening today and they're like, I have got to learn more, how can I connect with Jenny? How can they connect with you?
Awesome. Thank you. So there's my website, Jentle Coaching. That's gentle with a J for Jenny. So gentlecoaching.com. I'm at Jentle Coaching on Facebook, on Instagram. You can pretty much get all the things from one of those, from Instagram or my website. I have a podcast called Sideline Sisters. There's a Sideline Sisters Facebook group where I try to post a lot of breathwork sessions. So if you're just part of that Facebook group, you can get some breathwork. So yeah, either Instagram, let's say Instagram, if you're on social media, Jentle Coaching will give you all the links that you need, or just go directly to the website.
Perfect. And for those who are listening on Apple or Spotify and can't see your background, Sideline Sisters, Real Women, Real Shit. It's one of my favorite podcasts. So be sure to give Jenny a listen as well.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, before we go, I'd love to know if you have any last words of advice or inspiration that you'd like to share with our listener.
Absolutely. I've got two things. One is, just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. So as we were saying with I'm stressed, this is life is hard, I can't change anything, I'm in my mid-50s, I'm stuck. Just because you thought it doesn't make it true. And also, self-care is not a luxury. It is a priority. And breathwork is a form of self-care.
Love it. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Jenny. It was so good seeing you again. And I look forward to staying in touch, and we'll see you later.
Thank you, Tabitha.
Oh my gosh. What a conversation. Jenny's story is such a powerful reminder that midlife isn't about slowing down. It's about stepping into what's next with confidence and curiosity. If you want to connect with Jenny, check out the Sideline Sisters podcast and visit our website at gentlecoaching.com. The links will be in the show notes to keep it easy. And of course, if you're feeling that pull to escape the corporate grind and build your own thing, don't forget to grab my free corporate escape guide at corporateescapesherpa.com. We'll also be including that in the show notes. If you love this episode, make sure you subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a fellow Gen Xer who's ready to remix her midlife. Until next time, friends, keep making bold moves. We'll see you soon.